Welcome to Encounter, where we celebrate putting faith into action and community leaders who live out compassion, grace, and love. We're a program of the Broome County Council of Churches that addresses food insecurity through CHOW and the Greater Good Grocery, provides hospital and jail ministry, builds wheelchair ramps, and assists neighbors with transportation and shopping services through Faith in Action volunteers. We invite you to the conversation. Encounter your neighbors as we learn to walk together in love and kindness.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. I'm your host today, Joe Sellepack, Executive Director at the Broome County Council of Churches. Hunger, food insecurity. These are central to the mission of CHOW, whose mission is to basically stop hunger in Broome County. And it's the sign of it is a stop sign. And so one of the things that we do every year is we have a hunger walk that brings attention to food insecurity, as well as raises money for CHOW in order for us to help end hunger in Broome County. To help us talk a little bit about CHOW and its mission to end hunger, as well as the hunger walk, are two of our employees at the council. We have Colin Kelley, who is our community liaison, and we have Les Aylesworth, who is the program director for CHOW. No strangers, either one of you, to the Encounter show. So welcome back to Encounter.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
So let's start off by talking a little bit about the need in our community as far as food insecurity is concerned. Are there what is the spirit on the ground, so to speak? When you get into the pantries, when you get into the community food programs, what's the need in the community?
I'd say the spirit on the ground is probably kind of grim and scary for most people. We've looked at the statistics over the last few years, and they're not pretty. I mean, there was a report that came out from the New York State Department of Health a couple years ago where they had surveyed all the people throughout the state, and in Broome County, basically 1 in 4 adults reported having not had enough food in the last year, and it's not gotten any better. Another report came out with poverty, which is obviously a direct correlation with hunger, that in Broome County, basically 1 in 5 people live in poverty. When you talk about Binghamton, it's even worse. It's over 40%. And so, on the ground, it's kind of scary, kind of a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of people struggling out there.
And as far as that goes, Colin, do we have any anecdotal kinds of things like from the pantries themselves? What are we hearing from there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, we're lacking food right now, is what we're hearing. There's a lot more need than there is resources at the moment. That's really a lot of what's getting back to me.
And really, I mean, we're finding it more difficult to get donated product as well. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, a lot of the grocery stores are less willing to give right now just because of how high food prices are. And on top of that, people are less likely to purchase food to donate to us because of the same.
Right.
Yeah, there's this inverted kind of graph, if you will. Mm-hmm. As the food cost goes up, the donations go down. There isn't the abundance out there that we've, and this goes back to pre-COVID actually. In pre-COVID there was like an abundance, and then COVID happened and kind of it shifted everything, and then coming out of that, as inflation, like Colin mentioned, has risen, we've seen that the cost of food is just so expensive that it appears that stores are not stocking as much.
Right.
They don't have the excess to give. They're not hoarding. It's just they got to feed their families. It's like
right.
Everyone's got limited resources, and so we definitely are seeing that.
And one of the areas that we've been concentrating on are the fresh fruits and vegetables and what we call CHOW Fresh. It's kind of like the the foods that are perishable and yet so necessary for a healthy
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And those tend to be the places where the highest inflation rate is currently, right?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to especially meat is probably our hottest commodity. This historically has been, but the cost of meat is like super expensive. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, that when it comes to beef in particular, nationwide, the cattle herd, which is where we get our meat from, is at 1950s levels of the amount of cows out there, and our population has grown by 100 million. And so
Right.
you just do the simple math on that, what that means per pound of food. It's expensive.
It's very expensive. And just a shout out to folks like Sam Lupo who get us good deals,
That's
at
right.
least for on chicken.
On chicken, that's right.
And so we end up buying pallets worth of chicken in order to meet some of the demand.
Indeed, yeah, and it's so helpful because he's able to steer us towards really good deals and to be able to stretch the dollars that people give.
All right, so shifting gears a little bit. So now we're going to talk about the hunger walk. So, what are some of the goals that we set for the hunger walk, and how does that relate to the need that we're currently experiencing?
Want me or Colin to answer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Either one, yeah.
It'd be interesting. Let's
Yeah,
start off
yeah.
with Colin. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of have three primary goals, which is to raise funds for hunger, of course, raise awareness of the hunger in our community, and also to uplift our community by featuring the different partnerships that we have with different organizations and folks in the area, and being able to present them at the walk. So.
Who are some of those agencies that we're trying to uplift?
Yeah, we're uplifting a lot of our pantries, the different church organizations that we have in our network. We're also uplifting other food insecurity agencies like Cornell Cooperative Extension, and also, pretty much just everyone who we want, who can come and have something interesting for families. Yeah.
That was a significant shift we made a couple of years ago. We've been doing this walk. This will be our 43rd year doing it, and historically it was a walk. And we've talked about this before, but in the old days it was a walk like 10 miles across the city. And with COVID changes again, not to blame it all on that, but we brought the walk inside, but it was still a walk, and it was focused on that. And as we've transitioned to this sort of different model, that's how, one constant in life is change, is we wanted to highlight the folks that we work with. We've never had anyone table at our walks historically up until the last couple of years. We thought this would be a great way, as Colin mentioned, to uplift them, to show the community that, this doesn't happen with just one or two people doing something, one organization. It takes an entire community.
Right.
We work with over 120 different organizations, providing them food, and so we wanted to give them an opportunity to show the community, hey, we're here too. They are the boots on the ground, the ones giving out the food, and so it's been really successful. And we have how many different groups do we have coming at this point? We'll talk later at our meeting, but
Yeah, definitely 20 to 30 right now, and probably way more by the time the walk comes around. So.
and
Yeah, and really, what we're trying to do is not only by raising awareness, we're also trying to get people the opportunity to connect with these programs,
Exactly.
so that they can help with addressing food insecurity.
Exactly.
Because it's not. We don't do this all by ourselves.
Exactly.
There's a whole slew, like you said, there's a whole network of people that we're
Right.
kind of working with, and without having the volunteers, or without having the people who run these pantries, we don't have a CHOW. It's
Exactly.
It's exactly.
One of the things we track, is the volunteer hours.
Right,
And
right.
I think last year was close to 80,000 hours that the CHOW network, their folks gave of themselves to be a part of, just to simply help their neighbor eat. I don't know the math on that, how many years worth of volunteer, or if that's, I don't know the math, but that's a lot of hours, you know, and to your point, it's like, without that, we don't have CHOW.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And so, so Colin, as we're, you know, the other, I would imagine that the other goal, not to belittle the three that we've set, but the other goal is probably just to have fun, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what are some of the things that we're going to be doing at the Hunger Walk that you would consider to be fun?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have a caricature artist for the first time this year, which is very exciting. We're going to have balloon twisters, face painting, juggling. We're going to have a dunk tank this year without water. It's going to be ball pit balls.
Oh, okay.
As well as recently an improv group is going to help and perform, and live music.
Yep.
So,
Improv group.
yes.
So what kind of improv?
I'm not sure. You have
The
more
organization
information
is
on
called
this.
VAST, and I don't know what it stands for, but they're like a local group that people that kind of get out there and do improv together. They do classes, they do performances.
Oh,
and,
Blast. Yeah.
And they're coming. I met some of their folks a few weeks ago and told them about what we're doing. They said we'd love to come.
So Blast is the one that did the. I just went to see at Cider House the a youth version of Hadestown,
Okay.
and Blast was the one that helped with that, recruited the kids or the youth and put it all together. It was a great show.
Yeah. So
yeah.
they said it's all going to be family friendly. So
Oh, okay.
I'm excited. It's fun. Like Colin mentioned, we're doing a few new things this year, and every year we learn a little bit more how to do it better in this environment. And you know, the Oakdale Commons is a great setting because it's we don't have to worry about weather. We don't have to worry about like that kind of stuff. We don't have to worry about traffic. We can kind of just set up and let this event run, and so it's fun. We learn a little bit more, and hopefully every year we make it a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think it's important for our audience to know that that when we have to set up traffic or we have to do an external walk, it requires a lot more logistical support, and it also requires a lot more money than what we do when it comes inside.
Yeah, and we're very grateful for the Oakdale Mall, the Commons. You know, they provide the space for us. They're very happy to have us. It's been a great partnership for them to get people, people in the building, and because our goal, my goal would be to get like 500 people there.
Right.
Like, the last couple of years we've had a couple hundred, like around 200 plus people, and it's pretty awesome to see that group of people walking. But I'd like to get even more than that.
Yeah. So so on the day, like what is the day of the event? How do people get plugged in?
Yeah, so the day is September 20th. It's starting at noon. We'll have the walk right away. It usually lasts about 15-20 minutes, I think. Just a couple laps around the mall, and then after that, it's kind of free range for people to explore the different tables, the activities, the music, everything like that.
So September 20th at what time?
Noon.
At noon.
Yes.
So September 20th at noon. And if people wanted to do donations and get involved in that, how do they do that too?
Yeah, so we actually have a specific giving page for the CHOW Walk. If you go onto the Broome County Council of Churches website and you go to either the events tab or right on the CHOW page, there should be a link to give online.
Give online. And if they give $20, like I hear that there's something that everybody who gives $20 will be able to get, right?
Yeah, so if you want to grab this side. So we have a little CHOW Walk t-shirt this year. And this was actually designed by a BU student who was working with us. But if you donate $20, you get this t-shirt along with it. So
yeah, we're excited. So a $20 plus donation, and they can do that ahead of time. There's a way to track that. They can come the day of the event and do it. And I do want to mention this: the event itself is free. It's open to the public. It's completely free. There may be some costs with a couple of stuff that we have to do just to try to recoup some of those costs. But the event is free. It's open to the public. Anybody can come. We want people to come. We welcome them. You know, we were talking about this in regards to the walk in general, and you know, a lot of organizations do these big blow-up events, and really the goal is to get as much money as they can. That's the goal, and of course we want to get money too. But as we were discussing, we discovered, you know, even when we're trying to do a fundraising event, we find ourselves serving the community.
Right.
And you know, that's kind of the heartbeat of the Council of Churches, the heartbeat of CHOW, is at the end of the day, we're here to serve people. So even, it's kind of ironic, as we're trying to, you know, hope to raise some money, we want to serve people, even in that. And I think it's kind of, I think it speaks very highly of what we're trying to accomplish.
My guests today are Colin Kelley, who is the community liaison with the Broome County Council of Churches Works and Development, and our CHOW director, Les Aylesworth. And we have been talking about the hunger walk and food insecurity inside of our community. So Les, before we began, we started talking about, well, you know, why would people of faith really want to give to food?
Yeah.
Food insecurity. So, how do you answer that question when people ask you that?
Yeah. So, you know, at the beginning, I talked about of our show here. I talked about some of the statistics that, in other words, there's a lot of people hungry in our community.
Yeah.
You know, in the story, the famous story in the Gospels of Jesus feeding the 5,000. You know, before that he's done this all-day preaching event, and the disciples recognize that people are hungry. Everyone's like these thousands of people, which, you know, could be upwards of 15,000 people, have been out in the desert all day long without food, and they identify them as being hungry. And they come to Jesus and say, "Hey, Jesus, these thousands of people that have come to hear you talk are hungry. What do we do?" And he looks at him and says, "You feed them." And of course, that's kind of puts them on their heels. Like, how the heck are we going to feed all of these people? And we know the end of the story. They muster up some fish and some bread, and you know, he does this amazing miracle. But that really is, we've talked about that as at the council. That's what CHOW does. You know, we are called to feed people. Jesus called them to feed people. That's what we are supposed to do. And the truth is we can't do it by ourselves. There's no food fairy who drops food into our building. It just doesn't magically happen. But we take what little we have, what little the community gives us. And when I say little, I don't mean like it's peanuts. We take the generosity that's given to us, and somehow it's multiplied. Right. And we do amazingly more than we could do by ourselves. And so the call, the challenge is still there. You feed them. So you as the listener, you feed them. We feed them, and together we bring our loaves and our fishes to the Lord, and He makes something special happen with it.
And we've seen how that operates in a lot of different ways. It's more we have because of the position of CHOW within the community. It is a community. Really a community organization. Indeed. It relies upon the generosity of the community, and it connects with various aspects of the community that you would, the business community, the nonprofits in our area, the churches, the people of faith, and all the rest of that. All of these things come together, and everybody brings their loaves and fishes,
right?
And it gets multiplied. And what we're trying to do is like just harvest that community generosity. Indeed. That kind of comes from that. It's a humbling thing to be always on the asking part, but what we're ultimately asking people to do is to give, and when they give, it creates the generosity in our community that is beyond what just that initial gift is.
Exactly.
It gets multiplied.
It does.
Yeah, and it's important. And we were talking, earlier about Larry Burkett, who was a financial advisor. Yeah. And Larry Burkett himself said, at the end of the day, you can do due diligence. You can try to figure out like who is worth giving to and all the rest of that. But at the end of the day, generosity is what we're after, right?
Exactly. Generosity is just right.
It is just the right, and it is a fruit of the Spirit too, when you think about it. So that little boy who brought the 5 loaves and 2 fishes to Jesus, he does it in a way that is, do we recognize his name?
No.
And it's just he's just seen as a little boy.
And no doubt there was people in that crowd that were ne'er-do-wells, and people might go, they don't deserve that. But the boy brought everything he had,
Right.
ostensibly, and in something special happened with it. So there was no like judging people as to who was deserving of the food or not deserving of the food. It was, they were there and they were fed.
One of my favorite stories from Chow was when we had a group of AmeriCorps people that Colin used to be.
Yes.
And so we had a number of AmeriCorps workers who would go out, and they would go. They were part of that Chow Fresh thing, where we would go into a place and some of it was all fresh food, produce, that kind of thing. And so they would go into a community, and they would lay it out, and they would have like some donated product and some product that was for purchase. And so this little boy came up to one of the AmeriCorps workers with a quarter and said, I want to buy an apple. And at that time we had some free apples that were on the free table, and the AmeriCorps worker said to the little boy, you can get an apple for free. You can keep that quarter. And the little boy looked at the AmeriCorps worker and said, nope. My mom said that if I give you this quarter will feed hungry people. And so he said, I want to give this quarter to Chow. And we had to write out a donation for a quarter because a little boy brought a quarter to Chow.
That's awesome.
But those stories are multiplied
Exactly.
over and over and over again by people in our community who bring their quarters, and we're so grateful for that little boy, but more importantly, all the people that do give to us. It's an important role that they all play. And so the September 20th is our Chow Walk, and it'll be at noon, free to the community, but we are asking for donations of up, if you bring in $20, you do get a t-shirt. And then they look like an app for our listeners who are on WMBF. They look like a little apple who's walking, hunger. And then there's a circle that goes around it, hunger walk at the top, and then it says fight hunger one step at a time on the bottom.
Yep.
So it's an important T-shirt because it reminds people that we are walking for hunger, and we're trying to end hunger in our community.
Yeah.
So Colin, as a person who has gone from being an AmeriCorps worker to a staff person, how has it been? How are you finding your role at the council?
Yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful, of course. It was a very smooth, easy transition. I think you guys had already been putting a lot of trust into us as AmeriCorps members, and that same trust has been extended. But now in this new role, I really get to interact a lot more with the community, and it's really been an incredible time being able to table for events, being able to just meet the wonderful people out in our county, being able to chat with them and talk about our organization. It's been a lot of fun.
And Les, you've been a director for how many years now?
Going on 6 years.
On 6 years.
Going on 6 years.
And how has Chow grown as a result of, through the course of your tenure?
Well, I mean, just the amount of food we distribute has grown a lot. I mean, this year it looks like we're on pace to do around 4 million pounds of food distributed. Our staff has grown, the number of vehicles we've had has grown, the programs, the programs we're doing have grown. We've talked about this prepared meal program. I think that was on another show. that's now off the ground, and I don't know. We have some other exciting news. I don't know if that'll be shared. But,
Well, by this time we'll have actually
it
done.
will have been shared. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
So I guess we can talk about it.
yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, so as this prepared meal program has gotten off the ground, our vision was to have our own kitchen in-house, a commercial kitchen in-house, and we, put together apparently a really good grant for the state, and we were recipients of a $1.5 million award, $1.5 million. I believe it's the biggest grant the council's ever received, and to allow us to not only build a kitchen, but to procure another mobile market bus for the grocery store. So some really cool things have been happening. And so, and that's a culmination of years of work. I mean, we talked about this kitchen literally 2.5 years ago.
Right.
And now we are finally here.
And that's one of the things that people have to realize is that, and as a development officer for the council, this, Colin. I mean, it's whatever happens is not. It takes a lot of work, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you've been seeing how that works.
Yes. When you get the grant, that's not the end of it.
No,
Definitely not. That's the start of it.
Yeah. The question is, well, you get the grant, but can you spend the money? Yeah, it's always a big thing. So, Les, as we're coming into the Hunger Walk, what's your hope for it?
So my hope is that people come out to the walk. I mentioned I'd love to see 500 people there. The reason why I want to see that isn't just so we can have numbers, but I think it communicates to the community that, especially those who are struggling, those who are living on that knife edge of poverty and of food insecurity, that there is a bunch of people in our community who see the problem and are trying to do something about it. We know we won't solve hunger in a day. We know we won't solve it at the CHOW Hunger Walk, but I believe that by having this group of people coming together in solidarity communicates to them that we do care and we are trying to do something to help you, and that's really important.
It is a very important thing. And Colin, same question for you. What are your hopes for the Hunger Walk?
Well, besides being able to dunk less in a dunk tank, I would definitely say I'm most excited about being able to uplift our community and have fun. That last goal there, it's really wonderful to see people show up, but also be smiling, be enjoying themselves, be able to interact with the resources in our community. I think it just brings people together.
Mm-hmm. So my guests today have been Colin Kelley. He is the community liaison with the Council of Churches, and also Les Aylesworth, program director for CHOW. Thank you for being on Encounter today.
Thanks for letting us talk about it.
And for all of you, I want to remind you that most of us have more than that little boy, that quarter, and we've been gifted with a lot more than that. So I hope that you would be kind, generous, and caring with each other, and have a great Sunday.